I'm back. Let's go. So, people talk about anxious attachment like it's fear of abandonment, clinginess, overthinking, or needing reassurance. But I really think we're missing the underlying theme that ties all of these behaviors together. A lot of the women that I've worked with know the attachment theory. They know what actions attachment is. They know what their formant attachment style is. They can identify their triggers. They can label the patterns, but yet they still spiral. Baby, why? It's because underneath the anxious attachment is often something deeper. It's a self trust problem because when you don't trust yourself, you start depending on other people to create safety for you. And that creates exhaustion. Today, I'm going to talk about the self trust problem hiding underneath anxious or insecure attachments and how to actually start healing from it. Hello, my name is Ashanoa. Welcome to LAJA. This is the space where I help women cultivate self trust so they can attract better outcomes in their lives, ranging from relationships to finances and even their body. If that sounds like something you resonate or are remotely interested in, I encourage you to subscribe, stick around, join my community, LAJA Soft Living Society, which is linked down below. Today, we're talking about attachment style and self trust. Most people define anxious attachment as fear of abandonment, but I want to offer another perspective. Anxious attachment is often difficulty trusting yourself in uncertainty. Because let's really think about it deeply. The hardest moments usually are not when someone texts back or when things feel secure or clear. The hardest moments happen when there is uncertainty, there is ambiguity, there is distance, there is waiting. And if you find yourself in a situation where uncertainty feels unbearable, your nervous system starts outsourcing safety. Many women with anxious attachment do not trust themselves to survive discomfort, to survive disappointment, or to survive disconnection. My personal opinion is I don't believe in attachment style per se when it comes to men. I just think the man doesn't like you, point blank period, the end. And trying to put labels on said men or the man that he's anxious or insecure attachment style is just code for he doesn't like you, because men who like you are typically secure and will extend that security to you. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about how your anxious attachment is actually broken self-trust, because you don't trust yourself to be able to handle discomfort, tension, or silence. In a lot of cases, when he doesn't text you back, you're thinking, okay, does he like me? I don't trust myself to be able to hold this space that has been created by him or her, whichever situation you may find yourself in, and you seek to bridge that gap. And ladies, having this understanding changes everything. So let's talk about the breakdown of, okay, let's talk about the five self trust breakdowns of anxious attachment. So, when we are talking of anxious attachment and self trust, the first breakdown is this: you don't trust your perception, you don't trust what you see. An example of this is second guessing the red flag. That man cussed you out, but you're like, oh no, he just had a bad day. He's not always like this. But baby, the cussing out was real. Another example is asking friends repeatedly if this man actually likes you, what the signs are, when you've seen the symbols clearly that this man is a player or doesn't like you or doesn't care for you. It also ties in to over explaining concerns and also ignoring patterns. You've seen a behavior repeatedly, but you still doubt that what you see is real. You saw inconsistency, your body noticed this inconsistency, but then you talked yourself out of your own reality. When you repeatedly override your perception, ladies, your anxiety gets louder. Breakdown number two: of self trust and anxious attachment. It's really signaling that you don't trust yourself to leave. And this is actually painful. And I really want us to look at the woman in the mirror and be so honest. No self judgment, but just radical honesty is what I like to tell my ladies. I know this hurts, but why do people stay so long in relationships and situations that don't benefit them? A lot of times it's fear of loss, and a lot of times it's because they fear themselves. They fear if they can survive loneliness. They fear if they can do better, if there is better out there. They fear rebuilding if this situation were to end, because starting over never feels good. The fear of abandonment often looks like the fear of self reliance. You don't trust that you can pull yourself back together, get better, get a better job, get a better man, put overcome and shed the weight, because you don't feel you feel like you cannot rely on your own strength and on your own power. This is very painful to realize in yourself, but again, the truth will set you free, and you want to be honest with yourself so you can start taking steps to bring your life back into alignment. So that is the second breakdown of self-trust and anxious attachments, that you do not trust yourself to leave and do better. The third breakdown is that you don't trust yourself to handle emotions. Anxious attachment often sounds like, I need this feeling to stop immediately. So you look for ways to soothe. A lot of times by taking action in texting him, trying to bridge the conflict and manage the conflict. But instead of looking to yourself to self soothe, you outsource that to someone else. You outsource your emotions and seek for someone else to make you feel better and feel a certain type of way. You seek reassurance, you check your phone, you over text, you double text, you triple text. You stalk his social media, you seek certainty in the guise of closure. I'm just needing closure. Emotional urgency is often low self trust or low trust in your ability to regulate and self soothe. So that is breakdown number three. Breakdown number four is that you don't trust your standards, ladies. You know what you want, but you don't trust yourself to maintain it. Again, a lot of the ladies know and understand their anxious attachment style. They understand what it means to be secure, but the truth is, you don't actually trust yourself to uphold and maintain set standards. Having standards and upholding standards are two completely different things. And the glue that ties them together and differentiates one from the other is self trust and follow through. And this manifests in the form of accepting crumbs, even though you swear that you're the prize. It's moving the goalpost where you outsource your standards or your beliefs to other people, and now they're dictating who you should be and how you should behave. It's when that should have come from God and from yourself. It's also tolerated inconsistency because you're inconsistent with yourself. Standards often collapse when self trust is weak. You heard it here first. The fifth breakdown of self trust and anxious attachment is that you don't trust time, baby. Anxious attachment hates waiting. Baby, I'm an Aries. I hate waiting. Wait, what? I want it now. I want it yesterday, last month, last year. What do you mean I have to wait? I'm trying to see something. Exactly, you hate waiting. Why? Because waiting creates uncertainty. And uncertainty exposes weak self trust. If you ever find yourself feeling anxious, like, oh, he hasn't texted me. Oh my God, what is taking him so long? You're jittering, you're checking your phone every 5 seconds, you're playing scenarios in your head. You're in essentially saying that you don't trust the timing to allow things unfold in a manner where in which they should unfold. So that's what that means. So, why does reassurance never feel like it's enough? And ladies, this is the cycle that nobody actually really explains. So the cycle is that you're triggered, he doesn't text you, you feel anxious, you need reassurance, so you check your phone or you reach out to him and to check in, quote unquote. You get temporary relief from him when he finally responds. But then what this does is that it actually creates more dependence on him, because you're feeling the loop that when he doesn't text me, I reach out and then I need his assurance to feel better. And this creates more anxiety, because guess what? You're feeding a negative loop. Reassurance isn't a bad thing, ladies, but reassurance cannot permanently replace self trust. External reassurance feels temporary when internal safety is missing. I'll say it again. External reassurance feels temporary when internal safety is missing. You don't feel safe with yourself because you are outsourcing and self soothing through another person. And when that person leaves your life, which inevitably everyone does, either through life or through death, you find yourself saying, "Oh, I can't move on. He's left a void in my heart." No one should have that power over you to make you act out of character and remain stuck in life, because that's making them an idol and a god in your life, which is not what God has called us to do when it comes to relationships. We're meant to worship and be reliant on God alone, not man. So when you outsource your emotions, and when you outsource and consistently seek reassurance, you're creating this toxic dependence on this individual where your emotions and your feelings are dictated on what they do or what they do not do. This is not a powerful place to be in, ladies, is what I'm trying to say. And I hope you understand this and you think twice before reaching out to that man or that friend who has done you wrong or ignored your text for the 15th millionth time, because you want to understand and get closure and clarity. It's not worth it and it doesn't pay off. And you're training yourself. You're training yourself to accept crumbs. So, how does this tie in with self abandonment, ladies? I need to say something relatively uncomfortable. Many women with anxious attachment are exceptionally good at abandoning themselves. I've seen this firsthand in people I know and from people that I've spoken to. You notice discomfort, but you stay. That's self abandonment. You shrink your needs to be accommodating or to be viewed as palatable or not like those other girls. That's self abandonment. Because, baby, your jealousy is eating you up alive, baby. It's eating you up alive. Prioritizing access over alignment is a form of self abandonment because you want to seem like you're relatable and you're free for all. Baby, ain't nothing over here free, not even my spirit. I'm not a free spirit. You also force connections. When you force connections, that's a form of self abandonment. Someone has made it clear that they don't like you or they don't see you in a certain type of way, but you still insist on pushing your way into their lives. That's self abandonment. How many times have you left yourself before someone else did? For my ladies who men are always leaving you, you left yourself first. You left yourself first when he cussed you out and you were like, "Oh no, he didn't mean it," or he disrespected you or he crossed your boundaries and you said, "Oh no, it's okay. I'm sure he won't do that again. He made a mistake." That is you leaving yourself, and then you're surprised that the man left you. And now, anyways, we sometimes fear abandonment because we already abandon ourselves first, ladies. I want you to sit with this and really understand that this is a big emotional moment, a big aha moment. That man didn't just leave you, he left you because he left you, you left yourself. He left you because you left yourself. He fumbled you because you fumbled yourself. Period. Perioso. So, how do you rebuild self trust? I have this framework, the self trust loop, which is for number one, awareness, where you notice the sign. You ask yourself, what triggered me? Triggers aren't a bad thing, they are just revelations of things you just need to work on. What stories am I creating? Ask yourself that question. What facts exist? What am I seeing with my two koro koro eyes, baby? What is being displayed in front of me? Pay attention to those things. Listen to yourself and check in with what you need. Step two is to validate without obeying. Feelings deserve validation, but they don't necessarily have to be obeyed because they are not necessarily the automatic authority in your life. You can feel anxious without acting anxiously. I'm not saying this is easy and it's easier said than done. Yes, but again, this is a muscle that you have to train because the same way you've been feeding yourself negative loops of outsourcing your soothing coping mechanisms, you have to retrain yourself to view yourself and God as the people you rely upon for self soothing and for validation. So you can feel anxious without acting anxiously. Understand that feelings are signals, not authority figures in your life. Number three is to build distress tolerance. Practice waiting for 20 minutes before you text that man. Don't just text him back, or he texted you now and then 30 seconds later you're texting back. No, practice delayed gratification. Let it simmer. Let it simmer in your body. Pause before you check his social media, or better yet, don't check his social media at all, baby. And learn to sit with uncertainty briefly. He didn't text you for 5 hours. Let it simmer. Let it play out. Know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Know that everything in the dark comes to light, and this too shall pass. You have to trust in that so that you can learn to embrace and build distress tolerance, because tolerance creates trust. Not tolerance for BS, but tolerance for things outside your control. When you learn to channel that trust within and trust that everything is going to be revealed to you in due time, you build distress tolerance, and you build tolerance for things happening without outside of you that are not within your control. Number four is to keep tiny promises to yourself, like keeping your routines instead of going on a date with him because you're trying to please him. Eating your meals consistently, sleeping enough, maintaining boundaries. Self trust is built outside relationships. It's built outside relationships. It's built on relationships with yourself first and foremost, and eventually your relationships outside of you reflect said self trust. And then create standards before triggers. For instance, if inconsistency continues, I leave. That's an example of a standard that you set beforehand. So you're not thinking too much when someone is demonstrating inconsistency towards you. You just act out and you leave. Another standard you can create is I do not chase mixed signals. Some advice that someone gave me about men is that men on the fence are not for you. If a man is wishy-washy, I still say that I don't believe any man is anxious attached or insecurely attached. He just doesn't like you, baby. He just doesn't like you like that. And when you know this, you will know peace, and you stop running yourself through the ground and snatching your edges prematurely. Standards reduce spiraling, ladies, which is why we have to set them for ourselves, and we're also the ones that have to uphold them. So, what do secure women do differently? Secure women are not just these robots or these terminators who are like less emotional and don't feel anything and are detached and can feel no form of anxiety or anxiousness. No, they just trust themselves more. That's the difference, ladies. Secure women trust themselves more. They trust themselves and they trust God more because they believe that I can survive disappointment. They believe that I can leave misalignment. They believe that I can regulate my emotions, baby. They believe I can rebuild myself because I'm a phoenix rising from the ashes. They believe that they can protect themselves. Security is not certainty, ladies. Security is self trust. You don't know how and where life is going to take you. Yes, we can control ourselves, but we cannot control what comes our way. We can only control how we react. So you can't say, oh, when this is stable or when this outcome happens, then I will feel secure. No, you have to feel secure from within and from your trust and relationship with God that He and you will bring you through any form of trials and tribulation that lives can and will eventually throw your way. I think that anxious attachment makes soft living feel impossible because your nervous system stays on high alert. But soft living, which is what we practice in my society, larger soft living society, is not necessarily pretending that you're unbothered. It's simply creating internal safety, safety within self. When you trust yourself, you chase less, you spiral less, you force less, and you rest more. Emphasis on rest more, heavy on rest more. And here's what I've learned: you cannot always heal self abandonment alone because self trust is not built through information. You can watch all these videos and nothing is going to change in your life. It's built through practice. And that's exactly what we do in my community, larger soft living society. We practice self trust, emotional discipline, standards, our attachment awareness, feminine rhythm, soft living systems on a daily basis. Because I don't want women simply understanding anxious attachments. I want you to actually become women they can actually rely on, secure women full of self trust. And if that's something you want to, I encourage you to join us below. There's a 7-day free trial. You can message me there and we'll go from there. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.